Thank you, that's overwhelming. Can you all hear me all right?
Yep. Yes.
Oh well. That was kind of the crux of my whole act. Is this thing on? Turns out the answer is yes. It's like something a bit more profound and existential, and you've answered it in 5 seconds. So I'm gonna need to find something else to do this on. That's not a bad idea. Kelly was into a chip shop with a giant halibut tucked under his arm, and he goes up to the girl at the counter and he says, "Do you sell fish cakes?" She says, "Yes, of course we do." He says, "Oh, thank God for that. It's his birthday today." Just if you're wondering, by the way, so bad it's good. That's what we aim for at Perth Road. Just if anyone's wondering, I don't always talk in this seductive manner. I'm not trying to seduce you. Well, not you. Or you. Maybe you. But no, I'm just recovering for a cold. It's a miracle I'm here at all. I had no voice the last 3 days. So if I cut out halfway through, I'll just mime the rest and I'll print off and send the rest to you later. I am an MLIT student in Writing, Practice and Study over at Dundee University. MLIT stands for Master of Letters. And, I'm 6 months into it, but I really do feel like I'm becoming a master of them. So last week we covered in class studying I and J. The thing about them, right, is these two are right next to each other in the alphabet, and they both have that little dot above them that you've got to remember to put in. And this is like a trade secret here, you've got to remember this. The J has a curly tail. So that's how you tell them apart. By Easter, I'm hoping to know my P's and Q's. That way I'll know what knowing your P's and Q's means. And by graduation, I'll be able to tell you all how amazing this course is. Amazing? Yes, I'm ahead of the curriculum already. I wanted a different title for my act. The one I came up with was, wait for it, Irritable Vowels. It's good, isn't it? It's clever, it's relevant, there's more than a hint of truth about it. And it's a real testament to my rare sharp wit. Rare? Yeah. Well, it may be razor sharp, but it's not very quick. And I gave that to the organisers about 3 days after they'd printed all the leaflets and the posters with my provisional title on it. So if you want to put that right and make me look more quick-witted than I am, feel free to take a pen and just scroll it out, write that in again. It'd be much appreciated. I'd also thought of having a stage name because my real last name gives me nothing but trouble. And many apologies to the concierge, but it's Adam Learmonth, as in like Dragon's Lair, as opposed to say King Lear, which is what a lot of people presume it to be. Joe, you're not going to kill me for this, are you?
Yeah. And you call me a concierge.
It's an English degree, not a French one. Anyway, worse than that, there's a tiny little parish village in the north of England called Learmonth, and so I get all of their mail. Comes to me. Last I checked, I'm not a small parish village in the north of England. I'm not even a large one. If we're going to be a village in the north of England, I want to be a large one. So I get around this by making use of my Polish ex-girlfriend's name, Adam Krzyszkowski. Her name's not Adam, but you get the gist of it. Because people make the assumption they know how to pronounce that name because it's close enough to something they recognise. Whereas if you say it's Krzyszkowski, everyone looks up from the form you're supposed to be signing and says, how the hell do you pronounce that? And that way there's no confusion. I find that a lot in covering grammar as I do as part of my job. A lot of people think they know how to use their there, and there, to, and to, but really they don't. And yet, you don't get much gratitude when you point it out. I tell you, my ex-girlfriend, another ex-girlfriend, Yeah, there's about a month's worth of material if you go down that route. No, the one I've got in mind this time is a counsellor. That's counsellor as in with an SE in it, the ones that actually do some good for the people of Dundee, haha. Yeah, I know that's topical. I've reminded you of that. No, she's a counsellor, and so if she offers someone help on getting through a bout of depression, say, or she can explain to a struggling couple what's going wrong in their relationship, she gets cards, she gets bouquets of flowers, homemade cakes delivered to her. At least I think that's what the bouquets of flowers were for. Whereas if I look at someone's writing and I say, see where you've got a colon there, you could maybe suggest a semicolon or hyphen would be more standard. I get inventive suggestions as to sharp objects to put near my own colon. What can you do? Not correct people's grammar is the answer to that one. But outside of the curricular activity I do, I also recently been appointed the general co-editor of the Dundee Review of the Arts. Yeah, go team. I started off as a reviewer just back in September, but they just really had to promote me within a matter of weeks because I was making all the debut novelists cry. So they promoted me and I did specialist editing for a while, like focusing on arts and theatres. You have different subordinates in it. But they had to promote me from that again because I was making the reviewers cry this time. And so it's the Dilbert principle in practice, promoting to your level of incompetence. I'm basically to books what that one guy from Whiplash is to music. You know, I throw a dictionary at someone and says, no, that's a subordinate clause. Get it right, use the which, not the that. From the top. One of the fundamental parts of my job I find is I do a lot of cutting. Merciless cutting. I get an interview transcript, for instance, of 7,500 words, something like that, and be told, oh, that's going to fit a 3,000 word window. Great, thanks. I've got to cut that much out of it. So once you get through the verbal hesitations, the the ahs, well, you see, that's easy enough to cut. You go after the weak qualifiers after that, because only the strong survive. that doesn't do much for the grammar Nazi thing, does it? So once you've got rid of your quite, somewhat, rather, make it sound like you've read the book, not you're just hesitating. It might be good, it might not be, it is or it isn't. That's one way of avoiding my wrath. Once you've done that, it becomes a sort of creative writing of its own to cut down further to fit the word count. So sometimes I do have to be a bit inventive. Maybe death to all modifiers, the adjectives, the adverbs, get them out of it. If it's good enough for Stephen King to cut adverbs out of his stuff, it's good enough for me. It's still too many, still like 5,000 words. Let's get rid of the articles, all the as and thes. Polish language doesn't have as or thes. We can be frugal as well, it's austerity. Let's cut out all the as and thes from this. It's still too long. What are we going to do? Let's go with no words at all. To have the title of the book at the top and the reviewer's name at the bottom. I think this is a progressive step that some people just have to be taken on board with, but it has several advantages. For one thing, it solves this word count issue at a stroke, or strike through is the proper term. It's tantalising, it leaves the reader wanting to know more. It's always good, that's really what you want from a piece of writing. And most of all, it gets around the inevitable differences of opinion you're going to have on account of the subjective ambiguity of verbal communication. I know it's still a really draconian idea, and Adam Learmonth could get in a lot of trouble for suggesting that sort of thing, that sort of censorship. Fortunately, Adam Trzaskowski doesn't give much of a damn. Thank you, good night.